This week's edition of the SportsBros podcast is brought to you in part by Legal Shield Independent Associates, Chanel and Lorenzo Livingston. Are you tired of being harassed by collections agencies with all the calls and emails and letters? Collection law with Legal Shield can help cease these very actions of these agencies. As a Legal Shield member, your team of lawyers can help you with any legal issues involving the collection of money owed, a debt, or facing litigation. They can also help you get and keep what's yours as well. When you sign up with Legal Shield, you gain access to a nationwide network of attorneys that specialize in every area of the law. To view this and other professional legal services, visit their website at www.smartchoice.info, or you can call them at 301-996-5917. Or as the kids say nowadays, drop them an email, livingstonShield@gmail.com. Now on to this episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. What's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddie Cool, a.k.a. the HOC, up in this thing, the head of creative here. And guess what? It is episode 14 of the Sports Bros Podcast. But before I go any further, somebody had a birthday yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
Somebody, Lord. Yes. Somebody had a birthday, and I want to wish the almighty BatFlips a very, very special and happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, brother.
Man, oh, man, I appreciate it more than you possibly imagine. This has been a very special year for me. Special as in the fact that I'm starting to draw Social Security. I got my membership with the AARP.
Cut it out.
Oh, man. But, man, I'll tell you what. It was absolutely special. It's been an amazing day, amazing week. What we've been able to do, and just seeing you guys last week and just continue to do this has been absolutely amazing. I'm very thankful. Yeah. And now with all that out the way, all that mushy stuff, let's get into talking some trash. I got some things to say. Yes, sir.
All right. And as always, we got the money, man. Scotty D.
What's up, brothers and sisters? And welcome to our new listeners. I just want to say happy belated birthday to our partner in crime, BatFlips.
All right, gentlemen, like I said, once again, before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to Sean McKenna at the Sound Up Now Studios in Little River, South Carolina, for providing us a place to record our first ever podcast together at the same damn time, all in one room, all in one place. We got a video coming up soon. We got a few kinks to work out, but soon as that is available, you, the audience, the nation, the world will see the Sports Bros Podcast at one table, one place at the same damn time. All right, fellas, let's go ahead and hop into it. The NBA Finals. Ooh, it's been a good one. I don't care what they say about ratings and LeBron not being in it, but if you're a good sports fan, if you like basketball, it's been a good finals. All right, so here we have the Toronto Raptors up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors have been in this predicament one time before. They played Cleveland, and we know what happened after that. So, with that being said, we're gonna lead off with you, Scotty D.
All right, so this is a little bit of a strange situation in that we're recording on Monday morning, and the podcast is released on Tuesday, and Monday night is the NBA Finals Game 5. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto has wrapped it up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Golden State has staved off elimination. But I'll tell you this, in watching Game 4, the Raptors really frustrated Steph Curry like I had not seen before. You could see it in his face how frustrated he was. And regardless of how this thing shapes up, Toronto wins, Golden State wins. Kawhi Leonard has reasserted himself as one of the top probably 2-3 players in the NBA today. You know, the injury that took him out last year, and we didn't see him much his last year playing in San Antonio, you kind of forgot about him and weren't quite sure how good he would be. Then playing up in Toronto, you didn't see him a lot until the postseason. And Kawhi Leonard, regardless, they can go ahead and put a statue up of him in Toronto right now.
Wow, a Kawhi Leonard statue. I understand that if that man brings them a title, then he's gonna have to have a statue or a placard or poster or something hanging up in Toronto because hey man, this will be the city's first professional basketball championship and also be the first of the NBA outside of the United States. Be Live, how you feel about this?
I would normally I would say pump the brakes on a statue. I would, but you know what? I might actually approve of this message because you know what? By the time this hits the airwaves, it could be all said and done. And I'm going to say it is because I just don't see Kevin Durant being 100%. Even if he is 100% healthy, the team itself is not 100%.
No.
The chemistry is not going to. I don't think the chemistry is going to be there. I don't think they just jump into it. The chemistry comes back and they just become Golden State like they were before. I honestly say it's over. Game 5, Toronto wins. It's a wrap. Toronto wins the championship. I'm going to say this. It's actually very surprising to me that basketball is not as big as it should be in the country of Canada because guess what? The game of basketball was invented by a Canadian, James Naismith.
Yep, he was
so
Canadian.
a little tidbit of knowledge right there. I have to say Kawhi Leonard. You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm not going to give Kawhi Leonard all the props. I'm gonna give him some of it, but not all of it. I'm going to say the role players for Toronto have absolutely stepped up. But Pascal Siakam, Danny Green, Kyle Lowry finally looks like every now and again he actually might show up and play. But their role players have really their bench play, they've outplayed Golden State where Golden State's usually very strong at. Usually you're always going to get your Steph Curry doing his thing, Klay Thompson's going to do his thing. Of course, KD's hurt right now, so he's not really in the picture. But Draymond Green and Iguodala have always been the X factor, the wild cards that have made Golden State what they really are. And I really honestly believe that. But Toronto has beaten Golden State by taking them out of their own game. When Toronto tried to match up with Golden State, going three-pointer for three-pointer, you can't beat Golden State at Golden State's game. You got to take them out of their game. And they slowed down the game. Golden State have they even scored 100 points in a couple of these games? That's not Golden State basketball. That's not any type of basketball this day and age. I said that last week as well.
Yep, just like you said. I remember you saying that. Let's see. Game 1 was 118-109. Golden State had 109. The next game 2, Golden State. Okay, yeah, Raptors 118. I'm sorry, Golden State 109. And then the Raptors had 104. Golden State had 109. And then this recent game, it was 123-109. So they have scored 100 points. But it's been it's been 100 points the hard way. Yeah.
And you know what? Let me put in a correction real quick because this is what happens when you get old, and that's why we're celebrating our birthday.
Oh boy!
You know what? That's why why we're amateurs. I'm sitting there. Why Paul Gasol was on the mind because I was actually having a conversation with a coworker the other day about the Milwaukee Bucks and their roster, and that's why Paul Gasol was in my brain for whatever reason.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Marc Gasol, Danny Green, Fred VanVleet. Can I give him the MVP of this series?
I would.
He's been phenomenal. It's one of those things where Kawhi Leonard, of course, is going to get MVP, but Fred VanVleet easily, leaps and bounds stepped up in this series. So, that's one of those X factors. Like Van Vliet, you ain't really heard of him at all during the regular season, even some of the playoffs, but it came to the NBA Finals. These guys came in with a purpose, and I'm saying this right now when this goes on the air on Tuesday. I called it Game 5. There will be a parade scheduled in Toronto, and it's going to be something else. Kawhi Leonard, please be a smart man and stay in Toronto because they want to roll out the red carpet.
Speaking of a national sport of Canada, I almost called it Canadian, of Canada, these here Stanley Cup finals. The Blues had a chance, had a whole entire chance to wrap it up, home ice, raise the cup for the first time ever in franchise history. And what happened? The Bruins came back. They came back. They hit them in the face. And now we're looking at a Game 7 in Boston. They could have raised on their home ice, but yeah, now they're staring down the barrel of, hey, we squandered it. So, Scotty D, what you think about this?
Yeah, man. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. You know, both teams have proven that they can win on each other's ice in this postseason, but how can you not like Boston on home ice with Tuukka Rask standing on his head? I mean, he was gold in Game 6 on the road. And, I can't see at this point St. Louis regaining that momentum, which they had it, taking home ice and going home for Game 6. Man, they are really going to hate. If they don't pull this out in Game 7, they're going to hate that they blew that opportunity to skate around with a cup on their own ice. It looks like we could be having another Boston parade.
Oh, now you want to be a Tuukka Rask fan. Oh, okay. Let me see if we go back a couple of episodes. Didn't I say it was going to be the St. Louis Blues versus Tuukka Rask? Now you want to be on the bandwagon? I called this before. Scotty D, you are not right all the time. I done tried to tell you this. You gonna listen to me at some point in time because I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this. I digress because this has been an absolute. This is exactly what the sport of hockey needed: a Game 7, do or die, smash mouth type of game. This has been every bit of just roller coaster, up and down action, talking trash, winning on the road, taking the life out of the crowd. I'm going to say this. One thing that I can make fun of, I really want to make fun of it, but it was something amazing because Boston won 5-1 on Sunday, and yet with the minute and such to go, you heard a deafening cry from the crowd, "Let's go Blues, let's go Blues." The fact that the fans there knew that this would be the last game that they would see on their home ice. It was almost sort of a send off.
Yep.
Hey guys, we get it. This was a tough game, but for a fan base to be that behind their team, even though they lost that game, that could be the deciding factor because it's already been shown and proven that both teams can win on the other team's ice. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna catch some heat because I get a flock of Bruins fans that come in to Max Speed Shop in Fayetteville, North Carolina, 482 Norfolk Christian Church Road. Got to throw in the plug,
Plug it in there. Plug it in there.
I got to do it. But I think that send-off will make this very, very interesting. I'm going to tell you right now, I honestly believe this could be a double overtime game. And I honestly do not have a prediction. I don't. Either way, I think it is a phenomenal series. And I think it's going to come down to the nitty-gritty. There might be a couple fights. It's everything's going to be on the line. I think it might be I'd say 5-4, 4-3. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. Tuca's going to get exposed a little bit here and there. I think it's going to be a great game, and I am on the edge of my seat. Wednesday is going to be amazing.
Hey, just like Scotty D said about Tuukka Rask, Tuukka's been around for a while, and he can be had.
Are you defending him now? What is?
Hey, I'm just saying, man. Hey, it is what it is. All right.
Okay. What it is.
Hey, look. On any given night, think about it. Any given night, there's plenty of times that Martin Brodeur, he's been had. John Van Beesbrook, he's been had. Mike Richter, he's been had. A lot of these guys have been had, but guess what? They bounce back and have been able to win the Stanley Cup and keep it moving. So just like we're going to do.
It's all right. Sorry, I know you waited until I got back to Fayetteville. You wouldn't say this in my face last week in the studio, but that's all right. That's all right. I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna see you next time. I digress.
Hey, look, I'm gonna get in the studio and I'm gonna keep that same energy. Just like I told you, like you said, you're gonna hit me with the ball. I said that's what you're not about to do, and you're not about to do what you think you're gonna do when you see me, the HOC, in public. If you will. All right, fellas. So that is it for the Stanley Cup Finals, and it is going to be an interesting one because I thought that, at recording, this is all going to be over with. But the playoffs, Game 7 is what it's all about. And speaking of money, guess what, guys? Carson Wentz gets paid. Carson Wentz gets a 4-year extension worth, actually a 4-year extension of $128 million through 2024. Now, by the numbers, the max value of the contract is $144 million with $107 million guaranteed. And from the looks of it, if you do the math, count your fingers, tap your toes, there's $32 million per year.
What in the world are the Philadelphia Eagles thinking?
Oh boy!
You know what? I'm actually glad. Because the Eagles franchise has never been a friend of mine. It's just I do have a little rivalry going on because I have a few friends that are Eagles fans. Shout out to a permanent penalty box member, JR Speaks. Yeah, I said it.
In the box. Just chilling.
You want to be on the show so bad. Now you just gonna stay in the penalty box. But I digress. The Philadelphia Eagles, thank you so much. Thank you for just throwing away so much money.
Wow.
I'm telling you that. I'm gonna tell you this. The reason why. There is entirely way too much hype when it comes to Carson Wentz. I'm gonna say this.
So you didn't believe the hype about him coming out of college?
No, and I still don't right now.
Ooh.
I will say this. Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. He has the potential to be great. But I can tell you right now, I am not paying somebody $30-some-odd million a year when you have yet to make it to the postseason, health-wise.
Yep.
That's just right. I mean, I get how contracts work. I get where you see something that you believe in, and you reward on potential. You sign long deal contracts because of the upside and what you think you're going to get out of somebody. I get that. But on the terms of being Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers deserved it. He actually won a Super Bowl.
How many MVPs did Aaron Rodgers win? He won a couple of them, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still think he's overrated. Go back to a couple of episodes. I said it. But Carson Wentz, you didn't win that Super Bowl. You got them to the playoffs, but you did not win the Super Bowl. You didn't even win the NFC Championship.
Wow.
And now you 32 million. Now it was great that Nick Foles went on and he got paid as well, which is deservingly so. But 32.
Oh,
$32 million, and I'm not sold. And then wasn't there a little story out there about how there was a little beef between Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, or like there was a story.
yeah, there was something. I glanced over it right fast. I'm like, come on now, this is silly. This is ridiculous.
I think it's silly, but Carson Wentz, hey, do your thing. Congratulations. But man, I don't think he's worth that much. And this is going to be a little bit of a segue. We'll talk about it. But I think Dallas is about to make the same mistake.
Uh-oh. Speaking of Dallas, Scotty D, what you feel about this whole Carson Wentz getting his money situation?
So, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm very concerned about the size of the contract that not only Carson Wentz, but Russell Wilson received. I understand the big deals because you only have a certain amount of time in the NFL to make the money. So I understand these guys cashing in. But I also have seen them before where the players get frustrated because they're not surrounded by enough good players. And if you're eating up too much cap space, then that becomes a problem. Now, if you remember 2 years ago when Ezekiel Elliott was out, Dak Prescott did not look great. And then again, early last season, he did not look great. So I'm worried that if Dak Prescott's contract gets too big, they're not going to be able to afford to pay the guys around him to make him better. I'm not sure at this stage in his career if I can trust him to be good enough to carry a team. And if he's eating up that cap space, that could be a problem.
Of course, the Cowboy fan in you. I mentioned it. I mentioned Dak Prescott, and you just got completely off subject. You know what? That's my fault. That's my fault. You just gonna go off kilter. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it because it's out there. Dak Prescott, he ain't worth it either.
Oh boy,
said it. I said it. And you know what? I'm a segue into this because we're piecing together a couple things here and there. We're talking about a couple things. My man Scotty D right now is he's out of the studio right now, and he's also out of his freaking mind. But
that's neither here nor there.
But you know what? Like, one thing I will agree with you on the fact with Dak Prescott is that neither one of them, I agree with you, neither one of them deserve this big contract. But I can tell you right now, is Jerry Jones is about to break open. He's about to break the bank. It's going to happen. Dak is going to get this ridiculous contract, and Dallas better win it this year. I'm telling you, with the pieces that they have in place, Dallas better win it, or it's over for the franchise. Jerry just needs to sell the team because they have all the pieces in place.
They do, and also to piggyback off that, they made a lot of moves in the offseason. A lot of moves in the offseason between acquiring Randall Cobb. May not mean much, but I mean, it's a sure upgrade from Cole Beasley. Acquiring Randall Cobb and also, solidifying that defense and getting people the money that they need and shoring up that offensive line. Trying to corral Zeke and keep him out of trouble. And also, let's not forget, they got Amari Cooper, which is one of the best trade additions mid-season last year. So, hey, hopefully Dak can play some very, very, very inspired football.
As long as Zeke can wear a full shirt and stay out of handcuffs.
Oh boy,
it is what it is. I mean, I'm looking at this team on paper, and it really pains me to say this. Like, they look like the best team on turf right now, and I am a diehard Carolina Panther fan, and I've got high hopes this season because I'm looking at my defense, and I'm looking at my Panthers defense, and it looks like they are ready to come and play. But we shall see. We here at the Sports Bros podcast, we're itching. We're itching for football. If you haven't noticed by listening to us yet, our sport is football through and through, college and pro. I'm just letting you know right now, it's Clemson Tigers all the way for me and the Carolina Panthers. And I'm on a high with Clemson. I've been talking about Clemson all day, every day. I sleep in Clemson gear. It is what it is. I digress. But we're itching for football. Please get here August.
Yeah, you can't go fast enough. It's happy that, we got OTAs and mandatory workouts, and that's perfect. But football, we going to need you. Come through, show up and show out. All right, that was a pretty good spirited conversation about Carson Wentz getting paid and Scotty D's favorite quarterback of America's team, Dak Prescott. Should he get his money as well, too? We go from that to your section, the choices of the voices. Scotty D, can you opine on what the question was on last week's show that we will answer this week?
Yes, sir. We put the question out there. Who would you favor as far as the 90s Bulls versus our modern Golden State Warriors? I actually kind of started thinking about this a while back before we even started this podcast. Our friend Riley from Florida, who chimed in before, he's one of our newer listeners. He actually was one of the ones that we had this conversation with. He loves Steph Curry and thinks the Bulls probably would still be the winner. Loves Steph, like many people say. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. And I think it's kind of universal across the board. Everyone thinks that the second edition of the Bulls three-peat was the one that they were going with better than the first edition of the Bulls three-peat. But that was the question is, who do you like as far as the 90s Bulls versus our modern Warriors? And even the beautiful Jana Clem, who you put in the penalty box last week, she had a response. She was a Bulls fan of the 90s, so she had the scrapbook and everything, so she also went with the Bulls. But who else do we have that chimed in on this issue there, Eddie Cool?
Way to redeem yourself, Jana. Way to redeem yourself. She picked the Bulls. Let's see. Brittany Taylor said, "No," and I quote, "Nobody can beat the 90s Bulls." Just saying. She didn't give which, edition of the Bulls, but she just, can't nobody touch them. Both teams are tough, but, just like we said, I think personally that second version was better. Uncle Max, which we had the pleasure of meeting for the first time during our recent voyage to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to record the SportsBros podcast. So shout out to Uncle Max. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. He said he would give the edge to the 90s Bulls. He said because they're tough, talented, and physical. And that is hard to argue, Uncle Max. That is very, very true. Next up, we got Rodney Bellamy. Now, Rodney Bellamy went into great length and great detail, which you can check on the Sports Bros podcast like page at facebook.com/Sports Bros podcast. He said Jordan and the Bulls, and then he gave the final score of 107-94. Wow, that's
very detailed. I love the well thought out answer. I think he even put together a lineup who's guarding who.
Yep.
And that's actually what was kind of made it interesting. I mean, would Pippen be guarding Durant? Would Rodman be guarding Durant? Would Jordan be guarding Steph? Would he be guarding Clay? That was kind of the fun of the argument. And you saw, I think Trey Duke jumped in with him, and they had a little bit of a back and forth there, a friendly back and forth. It was nice.
Yes.
No one getting insulting on each other. So I like that. It was very interesting watching the different opinions float around on that battle, on the matchups.
Yeah, that was a good topic. Good topic. Anthony Browning, what's going on, Anthony? Anthony said, "Da Bulls, period."
Da Bulls.
Yeah, Da Bulls. And our friend Trey Duke, he just said Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors will win it all. Scotty D, who do you think between the 90s Bulls and this version of the Golden State Warriors, who would win it all? Game 7 on the line. Who's going to win it?
Well, the big the back and forth was kind of the different styles of play, because the Bulls of the 90s had more of a grinded out. They were in the trenches with the Knicks and the Cavs.
Oh yeah.
Back in those days, there was a lot more warfare under the basket. And obviously today's game is more spread and a lot more shooting. And if you go with the Warriors, it's based on their better three-point shooters, but I got to believe the Bulls of today would adapt to that style of game. I mean, they did have Steve Kerr,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Warriors have him in a different role now, but he was a real threat. He was one of the better three-point shooters in our history of the game. So, Jordan didn't take as many. Would he today? I don't know, possibly, but I just think that the 90s Bulls defensively would have created some problems. But because the length of Harper and Pippen and Rodman, they would have given those guys some problems. I think it was just they were very athletic and long for a team of the 90s.
All right, be live. Who you got?
This is very, very interesting because I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit torn. I want to say, because I want to go against the norm, and I want to say the Golden State Warriors, because I think a lot of people say defense wins championships. But one thing that Golden State has done over the course of this quote unquote dynasty, and I put it in quotes right now, I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Wow.
I put it in quotes, and I'll go into that in just a little bit. Their defense has gotten better. But what has happened, we tend to fall short of being in the moment. We're in the moment. And right now, Golden State looks flawed because of all of the injuries. So, because of the
Yeah, but we're talking peak performance. I mean, this is their fifth straight championship. I don't think we can hold the injuries against them in this conversation, can we?
Well, it's like, would they be exposed? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like the past 4 seasons, they've made it to the NBA Finals. They've made it on pure offensive. Just they will shoot your lights out, running
firepower.
Firepower. I think this is the first time in their 5-year run that they've run into a team that's going to smash them deep, play them, put some D on them. And I think this Toronto Raptors team closely resembles that 90s Bulls team. I'm not saying that Kawhi Leonard is Michael Jordan. Let's get one thing straight with that. But I'm saying that the role players that Toronto has, the way that they have stepped up, very much resembles that the 90s Bulls team, because Jordan and Pippen, absolutely. The 1-2 top 50 players of all time, Jordan, the GOAT, et cetera, et cetera. But people forget about the role players. Your Dennis Rodman, your Ron Harpers that we mentioned before, Steve Kerr.
Yep.
Then we talk about Cartwright, Horace Grant of the early 90s. Those role players played a humongous role in making the Bulls teams who they were.
Hey, don't forget about Bill Wennington and Judd Bushler. I'm so joking.
Wow.
I am so joking. I am so joking.
You know what? I'm thankful that you just pulled up those names like that. I mean, that shows your depth. And I'm like, it's names that should be forgotten.
Randy Brown.
Greg Hodges.
But I will say that even like Kevin Durant, Game 5 right now, does he make that big of a difference? Does he make the Golden State Warriors better than the 90s Bulls or this year's Toronto Raptors? The jury's still out. Because
it's still out. You're right. I'm just like you said. It's just it's a contrast of styles and adaptation. And like I tell people, when you have these debates about who would beat who, you also have to take into consideration the rules. Handshaking, you can handshake somebody during the 90s. Now, if you look at somebody wrong or blow a booger on them, it's a foul. Somebody's complaining. Well, you know what I'm saying?
My question is,
it's gotten that bad.
With the hand checking in play, with not being a thing, does Jordan average 45 points a game now?
Probably. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, okay, his average goes from this to this without the hand checking because they can't touch him. Jordan is who he is. So let the points pile up.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that with Steph Curry, with the way he's playing. You know, okay, you ain't gonna hand check me, gone, buckets, out of here, buckets, 30 and 35 points a game. It's just it is the average points per game. It would definitely be on the rise if you eliminate hand checking.
Right, which we've already seen in the style of play. With that being said, I will agree once again with Scotty D. Can you hear the pain in my voice? I hope you
boy.
can. I will agree.
I hear love. That's what I hear. I hear love.
I will agree with Scotty D when I say that the 90s Bulls adapt better, because you can clearly see now Golden State having to adapt on the fly, playing a more physical team. Even on the injury bug, yes, but at the end of the day, Steph Curry should be able to rise to the occasion. And when him being guarded by a bigger player, I think with him being matched up with Danny Green has been a problem. I think they've matched up and given him hell. And, of course, the Bulls would just give Steph Curry hell. He would not be that – he wouldn't be Steph Curry if he was facing the Bulls. The 90s Bulls wins. Trey Duke, good point. Sorry. The Bulls would just be they'd be just more physical. They would slow the game down, and that's just that half-court offense was second to none. The triangle that Phil Jackson ran, it's the Bulls easily.
All right, so B Live picks the Bulls. I picked the Bulls, and Scotty D,
Bulls.
You picked the Bulls as well too. So, yep, we all picked the Bulls.
Yeah.
Once again, we want to thank our listeners for chiming in on Choices of the Voices. We greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate going online, reading the comments and the back and forth banter, the good, clean banter, and having it all fun, fine, and dandy. Scotty D, what's the question for next week's Choices of the Voices section?
Well, next week, this week was a very specific question. Next week, I'm going to go a little bit more general, let you use your imagination a little bit more. But I'd like to ask, what is it that athletes do that you consider cringeworthy? What really annoys you when you're watching the game? And I'm not talking about specific players, like Steph Curry in that mouth.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
That's super annoying. I'm not talking about specific players. We'll get that topic another time, but I'm talking more like a baseball player, like when baseball players step out of the batter's box and fix their gloves over and over again. There's a list a mile long of things baseball players do, but you watch enough NBA, you watch enough NFL, there's plenty to go around of things that you're watching. And actually, we don't even limit it to the players. We can use announcers and coaches. There's plenty of habits that you see different things go on in the world of sports that are just cringeworthy. They just annoy you to death. So I'd like to hear some of those type of things from our listeners.
I got one, but I'll save it for next week because I think it's just like, come on, dude, really, you're on TV. What the hell are you doing? Watch yourself.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. All right, so that's it for the Choices of the Voices. Next week, answer that question just like Jenna Clem, Brittany Taylor, Uncle Max, Rodney Bellamy, Trey Duke, and Anthony Browning. We'll read your response on the SportsBros podcast. All right, fellas, here we go again. Who's back up in that penalty box? Who never left? And what happened? This is what happened. All right, of course, let's go. We got JR Speaks for making blasphemous, overrated comments about Clemson, Kevin Durant, Tom Brady, and the Dallas Cowboys. The one commonality that they all...
That's a major...
Yeah.
That's a major penalty. He's been in the penalty box for like a month now.
Yeah, he got suspended.
Yeah.
He got suspended. That's what happened. JR, at some point in time, we're going to give you a chance to redeem yourself. We're waiting on another voice message from you because we do appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're still in the penalty box because you basically took on the SportsBros podcast. You took on the SportsBros. You took on Clemson. You took on Dallas. You can't do that. You just can't do that. But
yeah, so that's fully okay. And next in the penalty box, sitting right beside JR, is Scotty D's favorite manager, Clint Hurdle. for hanging around for a paycheck and holding the Pirates back.
Yeah, man, a great weekend in Milwaukee where they didn't win.
Woo!
Go figure.
Oh man, and then we got B-Live's buddy Robert Kraft.
I'm telling you right now, just I want to make sure that the listeners out there understand how much I appreciate the penalty box, because it is our soapbox. It basically allows us, the sports bros, to voice our opinions on the things that just truly just irk our nerves. And Robert Kraft, you are not off the hook. I will not allow it. I even reshared a meme that I created because I want this to go on forever. Yes, your boy, yes, the almighty Be Live. I'm creating memes now. I'm trying to go viral. It needs to happen. Robert Kraft, he likes some strippers at Home Depot. Robert Kraft, you are not off the hook. Eddie Cool.
Still in the box. Okay, I got some good news. Jenna Clem did redeem herself. She managed to fight her way out of the penalty box. So shout out to Jenna Clem for fighting her way out of the penalty box.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Because I was going to let her have it again. In the place of Jenna Clem is Martin Tracy for picking the 86-87 Celtics when the question was about who would win between the Golden State Warriors and the 90s Bulls. Now, those teams are tough. Now, that Celtics team is tough, but it ain't had nothing to do with the question. B-Live, did you have something to say about this?
Again, you basically hit it on the head. We ain't asked you for all of that. That's why you get a 2-minute tripping penalty. You tripping. I understand you did.
Not only that, but the Lakers beat the Celtics in 6 in 1987. So that wasn't even a repeat team.
Ooh.
It's just your classic case of Boston people. They don't think anything goes on outside of Boston. Yeah, we got one Boston person, Jana, out of the box, and in goes another one.
Well,
so this
Patriots fans at Boston, they have to understand we don't hate the Patriots because they're cheaters.
Yeah.
We hate them because of their fans. That's the way to clear it up.
No, that's totally unclear. No, some of us hate the Patriots for cheating because
okay.
I'm pretty sure that 2003 Super Bowl against the Panthers, they cheated. I'm not letting it go. It ain't happening. Why do you think I don't like Robert Kraft to start with? Come on. I ain't liked them for years.
Now that I think about it, you know what? Maybe that ball was loaded when John Casey kicked it.
I'm just saying. I'm salty. And I digress. Let me hit the side note, because coming up, Game 7 of the NHL with the Boston Bruins and everything, we're speaking of Boston franchises. The last time, I was just informed this by one of our Sports Bros family, Joe Tex, aka Wayne Bruce. He let me know the last time there was a Game 7 in Boston was actually June 12th of 1984, when the Celtics beat the Lakers to win the NBA Finals.
Wow.
Guess what day Game 7 of the Bruins Blues NHL playoff is?
I don't know, B-Live. Why don't you tell us?
It is June 12th.
Wow.
Interesting.
35 years later, to the day, will be the next Game 7, Boston won. So it will be a very interesting story to see if the Bruins can pull it off.
That is quite crazy. Yep, and that's it for the penalty box. All right, now we've come to the end of the show. Well, not quite the end of the show. We've come to our Pepper Points, one of our popular sections that we love doing on the Sports Bros podcast. The Pepper Points. You know what it is. 3 topics. We opine on them. And then that's it. Nothing too spectacular. Nothing too crazy. A little trash talk in between here and there, but that's what we do here at the SportsBros podcast. We are professional amateurs, right, P-Line?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We are professional amateurs. All right. And let's see. I'll go first. My first pepper point, there's been something going around on social media. See, the thing about social media is you can't believe everything you see on there. Because 9 times out of 10, it's BS, it's hot garbage and Hassenpfeffer. It stinks. You can't believe it. So there's a meme floating around saying that can Draymond Green guard Shaq? But you know what? I'm going to put a pin on that, and I'm going to save that for Tranquilo Thursday. You know the answer, but I'll tell you why he can't do it. All right. Be live. What you got?
Man, I'm still a little dumbfounded by the whole Shaq and Dre. It's like, what? What? Draymond would do what everybody else did and hack a Shaq, but please, Tranquilo Thursday. I absolutely cannot wait. I want to. I actually want to talk about. I've been doing a lot of talk about horse racing. I don't know why.
Horses in the bag.
But there is a controversy going on in California right now.
Another horse controversy?
Yes. Well, I guess the California Racing Commission, they are trying to shut down the Santa Anita track. They've got a series of races going on because 2 horses have died in the past couple of days. I think over the course of 6 months, 29 horses have died because of adverse conditions and stuff like that. And so there's a big controversy where the the California Racing Board wants to shut down the track, but due to regulations, they have to do like a 10-day notice, and the racetrack is like, no, we're not shutting down because, I mean, it's a lot going on, but just it's tough when it comes to horse racing and the conditions and the training that goes on and everything. And like some people, like PETA, for instance, and people that are like, they love their animals and everything. It's really rough, like what the lengths that we go to entertain us feeble human beings.
Yeah.
I hope the right thing is done, and just like we do right by each other and by animals and stuff like that, not just for entertainment value. But I digress. Scotty D, I'm gonna throw the ball over to you and see what you got to say. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be something silly, but just go on ahead and take this ball real quick.
All right, Scotty D, your turn.
Okay, my first pepper point of the week. This past weekend, Rafael Nadal won his 12th French Open, 17th career Grand Slam, making him one of the most dominant Grand Slam players and easily the most dominant on clay in the history of tennis. I really like Rafael Nadal. I just wish he wouldn't scratch his butt so much and then put his fingers by his nose. Over to you.
Hold on. Eddie Cool.
Hey,
normally he throws the ball over to you. Give me that ball. Give me the ball.
I don't need y'all breaking up the stuff. All right.
No, Scotty D, you've been giving me hell about my affinity for soccer, football, and you're gonna come on here and talk about some tennis?
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Okay, soccer is, you know what, I'm not going to do this. You're going to have your tennis. Rafa Nadal, absolutely. He is the clay master. I agree with you on that. I'm not going to do this to you. I took this ball though because I am going to talk about soccer. And if you hadn't had a chance to see Lionel Messi play for Argentina and the way he just danced, I mean, he danced with the ball. He left three different defenders on the ground eating turf during this one goal. I mean, like, I am going to, as Eddie Cool plugged in Tranquilo. I'm sorry, I did it wrong again. Tranquilo.
There you go.
You gotta put some mind in there. I'm gonna put a pin in that and save a little piece of that for what happened.
Pause.
Wednesdays. You know, get the pause it adds the emphasis. The pause has to be there. But Eddie Cool, here you go. You can have the ball back. I'm gonna get that back. We're gonna get back in this rotation. I'm sorry, I had to take it.
All right, I'm good. At least the ball is firm and ready for warm-up, so we're good to go. All right, my second pepper point goes out to the one, the only, the legendary, speaking of Boston sports figures, Big Papi David Ortiz, who is alive and doing well. This past weekend, he was a victim of a attempted robbery. He got shot in the back, and then the bullet went out through his stomach. But I want to give a big shout out to the people that were able to get this scumbag. That they caught him and they beat him up. They didn't let him run. They let him beat him up. I mean, they beat him up. See, that just goes to show when you're good to your people are good to you. So I guess this guy thought that in Big Papi's hometown, he was going to roll up, shoot him in the back, and run off. Nah, he caught some hands, foots, stools, bricks, and whatever anybody could get their hands on to beat the brakes off of this fool. So, Big Papi, get well soon. Glad to have you here. You're still alive. You're still with us. All right, since B-Live want to throw off the rotation and everything like an errant Rick Ankiel fastball, we going to go to the money man, Scotty D, with his second pepper point. B-Live, you got to share the damn ball, man. Scotty, man, give us something good, man.
Okay, my second point of the week was last week I had an ingrown hair on my chin, and it really hurt, it really bothered me, to the point that I didn't even want to get off the couch for like 3 days. Around that same time, Zdeno Chara of the Boston Bruins was playing in the Stanley Cup Finals with a broken jaw. Now, I know that all athletes play hurt and play through injuries from time to time, but a broken jaw, man, that just goes to show you hockey is a crazy, special kind of tough.
The saying, he took it on the chin and kept going, there's never been a truer statement. I definitely have to, my hat's off to Chara for that. I mean, that's one thing I love about hockey is that the grit, the determination. Like, these guys play through some injuries that, I mean, my right pinky toe got stepped on the other day, and I was out for 3 weeks.
3 to 5.
I refuse to work in these conditions until my toe get better. But one thing I will say, Scotty D, I need you not to be disgusting on the air talking about picking buttholes and fingers up to noses, and now you got an ingrown hair on your chin. You're just nasty. You're just nasty. Jesus.
Well, aside from that,
I digress.
Aside from that, you gotta calm down. You're wilding right now.
Aside
from that, man, this goes to show, man. Yeah, you're right, Scotty D, man. Hockey players are a different kind of tough. Yeah, they're a different kind of tough. Hey, you know what? Broken jaw, no problem. Just put a visor on me. Lost 3 teeth, no problem. Just put them in some milk, and I'll probably preserve the teeth for later on. But these guys are tough, man. And this is the Stanley Cup Finals for the whole shebang and kit caboodle. And what you don't want to be is on the sidelines just watching when you know you can play. He's been around forever. Yes, he's been around for a long time. So shout out to the big man for holding it down all these years. All right, B-Live, here is your turn with the ball. Catch it,
All right.
Butterfingers.
Let me get that off here. Um, I want to talk about baseball. I want to talk about baseball because we're getting to that moment of time during the summertime where there ain't much else going on, and I want to really segue into baseball because it is America's pastime. It is a wonderful sport. It's just really too long. But there's moments of times where it just gives you that spark and that fire. I happen to watch the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants play, and something just really it just tickled me. It tickled me. Madison Bumgarner, for San Francisco, he's won I believe he's won a couple Cy Youngs. He was what was he, the MVP during the World Series few years back? I mean, phenomenal.
Mad bum, that's what they call him.
Well, he was a mad bum yesterday because he is just picking fights with everybody. He is talking pure tea trash to the umpire, and then he decided to have a few choice words when Max Muncy stepped up to the plate and took a 92-mile-per-hour hanging fastball into the water of McCovey Cove.
Splash.
And I quote what Max Muncy had to say, because Madison Bumgarner was a little upset because there was a slight bat flip and there was a little showboating, a little bit of a stare. I looked at the video. It didn't look bad at all. Like, it looked like he got a hold of it. It was in the water, slow trot, home run. I think if you knock the ball out of the park, it should be a slow trot. It does slow the game down, but it's just one of those things. You get a good piece of one, I'm sorry. It wasn't even a Jose Bautista bat flip, which goes down in the ages. That bat flip that he had was epic. Love it.
With him, I don't know if that's a bat flip or a bat toss or a toss flip.
That was a bat chunk. He just chunked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so Bumgarner was John Adam, like, dude, like, and Max Muncy said, and I quote, I told him, if you don't want me to watch the ball, you can go in the ocean and get it.
Oh, smoke!
Smoke all of it. Oh my goodness. When I saw and I read this, I said, oh my goodness, this was funny to me. So, I mean, shout out to Max Muncy. Just, I love that part about baseball. Every now and again, when you got the bases clearing brawl, I love it. I love the pettiness. You go after my player, I'm gonna throw one at you. Let's talk about it. You want to meet in the center real quick? I'm sorry. I like it.
You know what, man? I like it too, man. I'm like, well, we got to fight. I remember a few years ago when Texas and Toronto played, and of course, Toronto eliminated Texas to go, within playoffs, and the following year they played each other. Of course, it went down like 4 flat tires between Jose Bautista and Rougned Odor. All right.
Oh boy!
And he punched him. Odor punched him square in the mouth. Batista's head went one way, Shades went the other way, and Jose Bautista ain't never, ever been the same since. All right, Money Man Scotty D, your last pepper point is about baseball. What you got?
My final pepper point of the week is about Andrew McCutchen. Andrew McCutchen is special. When he joined the Pittsburgh Pirates, they were in the midst of a 20-year losing streak, the longest such streak in professional sports history. He led the Pirates to 3 straight postseason appearances and made baseball fun and relevant once again in the city of Pittsburgh. And while I hated to see him bounce from the Giants to the Yankees to the Phillies the last 2 years, I was rooting hard for him until last week when his season ended with a torn ACL, and I hated to see that. As a 32-year-old baseball player with diminishing skills, I don't know if he'll be able to come back from this. I don't know if he'll even play again. But if that is the end of Andrew McCutchen, I just want to say how proud I was as a Pirate fan to have such a classy individual be the face of the franchise. And I want to just thank him for saving baseball in the Berg. And that's it for my pepper points of the week. Over to you guys.
Yeah, for a while, man, I thought that's sad to hear that Andrew McCutchen is going to be out for the season. I thought he was really going to be one of the pillars in the Pirates renaissance, but we see how long that lasted. It really didn't last long. Scotty, they got to do something about your boy, penalty box resident Clint Hurdle, and the GM as well too, because those fans are suffering, man. They had a taste of success a few years ago, but it ain't been the same since. My third and final pepper point goes to the Carolina Panthers. Hashtag keep pounding for inking a deal with veteran Pro Bowl, all-pro defensive tackle Gerald McCoy. Shout out to Gerald McCoy for making a smart decision. He also had offers from AFC division mainstays, the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, but he's like, you know what? I don't feel like freezing. I ain't mad at him.
He said that he wanted to play the Buccaneers twice.
Oh.
And one thing I thoroughly enjoy. He immediately had accolades for Cam Newton. Like, he's talking about how tough it is to bring Cam Newton down. Mm-hmm. Now he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. And like he's really gravitated to the Panthers. He fits the mantra. Like, I'm excited to see him play this year. Oh man, give us football. Please, football. Please.
You know what I found myself doing last night? I went down a rabbit hole. I think the CFL has already started their preseason, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they've already started their preseason. I'm like, well, you know what? Hey, man, it's some football, but it's not the National Football League. Yep. So shout out to Gerald McCoy, man. Welcome to the family. And he also said that Cam Newton also played a major role in the recruiting process. So, hey, doing something good. All right, now we got all our pepper points out the way. Guess what? It is the end of episode 14 of the Sports Bros podcast. Once again, I want to give a big shout out to Sean McKenna for opening up his studios last week, Sound Up Now Studios, and for giving us a chance to record the podcast in one building at the same time. It was great. We got a video coming soon. We got to work a few kinks out, but once that video is up, it'll be ready. I'm sorry. Once that video is ready, we'll be sure to upload it. Also, the past few weeks, the Sports Bros podcast has been sponsored by Legal Shield Associates, Chanel and Lorenzo Livingston. We want to thank them so very much for being our first ever sponsor of the Sports Bros podcast. And with that being said, the Almighty Be Live, where can they reach you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Well, I'm at the handle This Be Your Boy Be Live. No I, so THSBEYABOYBLIVE. Your boy is doing some new things, man. Check. I just came out with this meme. I'm sorry. Can I laugh at myself? Because I thought it was hilarious. Man, dude, I thoroughly enjoy doing this, man. Coming up with another video of what happened. Pause. Wednesdays, every Wednesday, I'm coming to you. This will be episode 16.
Wow, 16.
16 of my video blog that you catch up with you on our Facebook like page, Sports Bros Podcast. You can catch us on Twitter as well. The tree of us at Sports Bros PCast. And we're working every single day to bring you sports, bring you a different angle, bring the funny. We want to be your outlet
Yes.
for all things sports. And we thank every single listener, our sponsors. Can I say plural? Because I mean, I want to say plural because with Sean McKinney's Sound Up Now, I mean, that is a sponsorship within itself, man. That
Yes.
honestly a great atmosphere. What he has going is phenomenal. Discover Myrtle Beach. I want to help him expand the brand to even bigger markets. It's a great platform that he has. So, man, I'm looking forward to growing with him. I want to do also a quick shout out to a good friend of mine, Mike McGinnis. He just accepted an internship with 110 Sports.
All right.
Was it let me see. Let me get this correct. Because I just talked to him. 110 Nation Sports. Let me get that correct. He just accepted an internship. I just shared a bit that he wrote about the NBA Finals, and it's all about networking. ESPN's doing their thing. Thank you for being the worldwide leader in sports. Do they even use that tag anymore? But it's one of those things where I think it's getting a little mundane. We're going to bring the funny. We're going to bring sports for the fan, by the fan. So continue to support. We appreciate it. Thank you all as well for all the birthday wishes, man. Makes an old man feel great and special.
Here we go.
Well, yeah. Your 37th is coming up soon, and nobody even really knows how old the money man is. He's got to be easily in his 50s at this point in time. Yeah, I said it.
Boy, here comes the heat and smoke.
I can. So just stay tuned for next week's episode. It's gonna be a barn burner.
Scotty D, where can they reach you?
Well, I haven't done a Scott's Thoughts for a while, so be on the lookout for that. There might be one on Facebook coming up this week. Scott Donnelly, that's me on Facebook. And if you're in the Myrtle Beach area, come check me out at Beast Ninja Obstacle Course Training Gym. Love to see you there. And happy Father's Day out there to all the fathers. And I'm not going to get fooled again on the U.S. Open this weekend. I'm taking Brooks Koepka.
Brooks!
See ya!
All right. And you can reach me, the HOC, the head of creative, Eddie Cool, here at SportsBros Podcast. You can check me out on Twitter at The Real Eddie Cool. Send me some funny stuff. I love laughing. Also, you can check me out on Snapchat. That's SuperCool5000. Also, you can check me out at the SportsBros Podcast Twitter account, SportsBros PCast, like peanut, SportsBros PCast. Also, you can check me out on Instagram, Cool Season. That's KOOLSEASON, all one word. PIMPology. Oh, I'm sorry. I got caught up there for a second.
Right.
Let's see. Where else can you catch me? And, of course, you can catch me at the SportsBros Podcast like page, our fan page, 500 strong. 500 plus strong, right? Be like 500 total likes. Yep, 500 total likes. That's a major milestone for us having to start this back in March. But that's a sign of our growth, our dedication to you, the fans. And think about it. It's just three guys getting together on Mondays talking about sports. Very simple. And I have a lot of people tell me, man, like, you know what, man, I would rather listen to you guys than to watch what I see on TV. That says a lot.
Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And we greatly appreciate that. So we'll just keep moving and we'll just keep going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another action-packed edition of the SportsBros Podcast. The next time we probably will talk to you guys, who knows? We may have a new NBA champion or the same old NBA champion, and we know for certain that we're going to have a brand new Stanley Cup champion of the NHL. And with that being said, do something nice for yourself. And also, if you can, do something nice for someone else as well, too. It's been another edition of the SportsBros Podcast. Y'all take care.
Yes, sir.
This week's edition of the SportsBros Podcast was brought to you in part by Legal Shield Independent Associates, Chanel and Lorenzo Livingston. Have you ever heard of an employment lawyer? If your answer is no, then don't feel bad, because this is my first time hearing this too. An employment lawyer can assist you in resolving common workplace disputes such as employee wage and hours violations, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, workers' compensation, and more. When you sign up with Legal Shield, you gain access to a nationwide network of attorneys that specialize in every area of the law. You don't have to fight alone. Legal Shield is here for you. To view this and other professional legal services, visit their website at www.smartchoice.info, or you can call them at 301-996-5917, or just drop them an email, livingstonshield@gmail.com.